It's the North London derby. I can't lie. As someone who has no direct investment, no stocks in this, no direct emotion, I'm excited. The pitfalls of this game are beautiful. Arsenal could extend their lead at the top or maintain it, depending on what happens in the Manchester derby. Spurs could catch up with their little difference between where they are in fifth and fourth place. They could be right back in the mix, or a chasm could be created. Arsenal's record at White Hart Lane is poor in recent years, but Arsenal haven't been this good in recent years. Spurs have been underperforming, undercooked, not seasoned all year. Barely had a standout performance. But no better game than the North London derby to turn up for Harry Kane and co. to say, we're going to put a spanner in the works of your title race. And in fact, maybe start a motion that puts us back in it. I've seen Spurs fans say this online. This is going to be one of the most exciting, exhilarating, nail biting, and of course, for the two teams and their fan bases involved, nerve wracking games of the season. There is so much riding on this. There are so many subplots. There are so many elements of this game that should have you already on the edge of your seat. It's Friday and you should be on the edge of your seat. But the big question is, who is coming out with the spoils? I want your predictions right now before you've heard anything what I've got to say. Your predictions right now in the comment sections, and make sure you're smashing the like button. Tottenham. Oh, Tottenham. Tottenham fans at the beginning of the season told me that they would win a major trophy before Manchester United. Could happen, but it might not. Tottenham fans at the beginning of the season said they were shooing for top four. That isn't going the way they want it to. They were angry at the start of the campaign. Angry at the start of the campaign. Why were they angry? Because Arsenal are getting more plaudits. Arsenal were being praised more. And it was only a handful of games ago. By the way, they had their best start to a season ever. I think after 12 games, something like this. They were 3 or 4 points behind Arsenal, and they said we should be considered in a title race if Arsenal are in a title race. And what's happened? They've fallen away. They've fallen away in a big way. They now find themselves, I'm just checking to get this right, 11 points behind Arsenal, and Arsenal have a game in hand. If Arsenal win, irrespective of what happens between City and United and Newcastle this weekend, there will be a 14-point gap with the game in hand to Arsenal. That's done. Spurs will finish behind Arsenal this season, and that is devastating for Tottenham. Devastating for Tottenham. They could find themselves going from 2 points to 5 points behind Man United, with Man United having a game in hand. That's against Leeds. We actually play a game against Palace midweek as well. I don't think when Spurs are playing, so that could become 8 points. Suddenly there's a chasm. This is the biggest game of the season for Tottenham. But my view is this. Tottenham have been all year, and their fans, scared of Arsenal. In fact, that's probably unfair. They have been petrified of Arsenal. They have and will remain in Arsenal's shadow for a long time. And they have had a period in the Prem where they've finished in front of them on a regular basis, 5 or 6 years. That is over. And every Spurs fan in their heart of heart knows that as soon as Arsenal got back to playing good football and created a good team, this so-called power shift was done. Done. Whether it's George or Patrick on the terrace, Alex on the terrace, the people that call in, the Orchies and the Dans, they are scared of Arsenal, whether they want to admit it or not. Whether they want to admit it or not, they are scared of Arsenal, and they are petrified about Sunday, because Arsenal are clear. Arsenal defend better. Arsenal control midfield better, and they, in my opinion, in my opinion, they have a better attack as well. In fact, they've scored more goals in less games this season than Tottenham. Tottenham, by the way, their attack is very good, especially including Harry Kane. But Arsenal got the better goalie, better defense, better midfield, better attack. The only element is how will they perform? The fifth element, how will they perform away from home at a stadium that they haven't performed well in before? And we can go into a tactical breakdown and tactical analysis. Great. The midfield battle is going to be won by Arsenal, in my opinion. And that is going to give them the foundation to grow from. The foundation to grow from. What Arsenal have to do tactically, is not allow themselves to be caught too high for the counter attacks, because that is what Tottenham are going to do. That is your tactical analysis there. You don't need to spend 10 hours breaking it down with some tactical on Twitter. They're going to win the midfield battle, Arsenal. They're going to dominate the ball. They're going to be the aggressor. Spurs are going to play on that counter. Now, Spurs shock us all and they become the aggressor. I will take my hat off to them and say, well done, you. But this comes down to Arsenal's mentality. There's not that many syllables in it. I added some. But this is about Arsenal's mentality. How will Arsenal step up on the day? Will the nerves, the anxiety, the worry, the pressure make them crumble? If City beat Man United and go within a point, will that go within 2 points? Will that change how they feel? Will that change things? If Man United win, knowing that Man United got 3 games in a week, including one against Arsenal. 3 wins on the bounce now for Man United, puts them level on points. Will that pressure creep in? Will the anxiety around not winning very many games away at Tottenham for a number of years, will that pressure crumble them? That all could be true. But what I believe is going to happen is this is going to be another gateway moment, another eye opener, another shot across the bows where rivals, including Tottenham fans, say Arsenal are legit. Legit. I'm not going to go over a battering. I don't think Arsenal will batter Tottenham, but I think they'll beat them. Can Spurs win? Absolutely. But they won't. Mentality-wise, Spurs' fear and the petrified nature of their club this season, under failing with Conte, sitting in 5th, throwing away a brilliant start, versus the true belief, togetherness, and feel-good factor around Arsenal is going to be the difference. Tactics, smacktics. Managers will care, but this is going to come down to who concentrates the most. The tactics will probably be this. If I was going to explain how the game's going to go, Spurs might attack in the opening 10 minutes, like really hard, and attack. Then they're going to sit back, goal or no goal, and try and counter. Arsenal will become the more dominant force. Can they break them down? Equally, not leaving themselves too exposed. It's going to come down to mentality, though. The desire and the will to win, coupled with the concentration levels to not make too many mistakes. Because I believe this game will be won and lost on mistakes. As brilliant as Arsenal could be, they will lose if they make mistakes, or they won't win if they make mistakes, and vice versa. This is gonna be a game of mistakes, because this is a battle of the mind more so than it is a battle of the bodies. And my bet is on Arsenal, because mentally they have been better than Tottenham all season. And if they win here at a ground that they have a terrible recent record at, you are not stopping Arsenal from winning the English Premier League. You ain't stopping them. They've literally got away to Tottenham and away to City. Outside of that, how many other games are that scary for Arsenal? Away to Newcastle, you could argue, is going to be a tough game. They've already played United. They've already gone away to Chelsea. They've already beat Liverpool this year. Liverpool don't look very good. They've got 2 really hard games left, Arsenal. And this one, I think they're going to win. Arsenal are so far clear of Tottenham right now. They're so far clear of them on the football pitch. I have to pick Arsenal as my winners. As I've already alluded to, I think Arsenal will go on from here again and again. I don't think Arsenal could be caught. I think Arsenal will win in the league. For Tottenham, It's very interesting what's going on there right now. They've got some brilliant players in that team. I think Romero's brilliant. Bentancur, Kulusevski, Kane. They've got some young Brian Hill has done very well recently. Some very talented players. But I don't think they believe, whether it's believing in Conte or believing in the idea that he's even going to be here next season, there is there's an ingredient from the recipe missing. There's an ingredient's missing. Something isn't quite right. And it's a shame for Tottenham fans because they really want their team to be good. And in fact, they are a good team, but they really want their team to be great. And they're just an echelon down from being a great team. This could be their sixth loss of the season. That is far too many games. Far too many games, in my humble opinion, to have lost by the halfway mark. I mean, you're tracking to. This is what you got to bear in mind here. Arsenal were ridiculed for a couple of seasons running for losing 13 games in a season. We're almost at the halfway point. Spurs are tracking to. This would be Spurs' halfway game, actually. This would be game number 19 for Spurs. They could be on 6. If they echo that in the second half, that's 12 defeats. That's what Arteta was losing when he was being laughed at. Like, you've got to deep that. You've got to deep it for a minute. What they're tracking towards. It's crazy. They're tracking towards, if they lose this game, they're tracking towards 12 defeats in a season. Huge. Score prediction I'm going to go with is 2-1 to Arsenal. That's what I think and feel, but I want to know what you're feeling. Don't stand on ceremony. Get your comments in below. For me, so far, and there might be bigger ones later down the line, this is the biggest game of the season for the Premier League, period. So far this year. There is so much riding on it. Can Spurs get back into the top 4 race? Can Arsenal pull clear of City? Will City gain? Will Man United gain? Who knows? But it's going to be an epic weekend ahead. Make sure you're tuning in to the Top 6 show on the Terrace. The match reactions will be live for at full time. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you soon.